Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I randomly select something from my obscenely large, random, crazy watch list, play a little bit of movie roulette, and we'll see what we land on. And joining me is one of the managing editors of SifPop.com, a friend of mine. It's Aaron Schweitzer. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, happy to be here, always.
Absolutely. So the shoe is on the other foot. We're watching something
Hmm.
off of my watch list instead of yours for the Sip Pop Writers Room. And this is certainly an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, normally on the writer's room, we do like full-length movies of so
And
yeah, it was a
this,
little bit of a relief to see a 12-minute runtime.
and it certainly is. And we're going to be talking about Billy Blazes Esquire. And this film released July 6th, 1919. Indeed has a 13-minute runtime, directed by Hal Roach and starring Harold Lloyd. And The Prince survives at the British Film Institute, and this specifically was created to parody westerns at the time. And we have the story of Billy Blazes confronts Crooked Charlie, who has been ruling the town of Peaceful Vale through fear and violence. But Aaron, what are your general thoughts on Billy Blazes?
I mean, I'd never heard of it before.
Hmm.
Um, I Abby asked me what I was watching for preparation for this, my wife, and I said I don't know. It's a 12-minute YouTube video, and I'm gonna throw it on. And I just kind of did, and like I was shocked at how funny it was. Like
Hmm.
I don't know that I was expecting it. I didn't know what to expect, right?
Hmm.
Um, expected funny just because a lot of times these early era they tend to be along the lines of more like Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin kind of comedy because that's very easy to do and would make a lot of money and um, at least relative to what they were going for. And um, I was just thinking it's probably going to be whatever, and it had a really fun feel to it. I found myself like laughing in the first like 5 seconds, and I was like, cool. Like, and 12 minutes later, like it's weird in this era of like YouTube where most videos are over 12 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
So it's like most YouTube videos could be considered short films, and like there's certainly a conversation to be had there. But yeah, it's just like I had a good time for 12 minutes. I was in, I was out, I had a couple chuckles, and it was a good time. But like I don't know, there's like obviously not really much substance here.
Hmm. It's one of those things where you could definitely tell they're trying to lampoon westerns, and there's some things that have not aged well. Like they had that parody of like a Chinese man who was like
Yeah.
walking with like little steps and stuff like that. And like, I couldn't tell if it was lampooning Chinese people or lampooning Western's presentations of Chinese people. And we'll never know because we can't talk to Hal Roach and is what his intentions were in terms of that presentation of that character. But like this has I felt like the second Harold Lloyd showed up as Billy Blazes, he brought this whole other energy to the film. And when he came into the saloon and started doing like that gunplay where like he the guy would try to pull a gun on him and he just magically had a gun out under his arm pointing at him and he went back and forth with him like 5 times, just pulling out like, whoop, 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 whoop. Which gun am I going to point at you? And then he makes him slay, like get on all fours and be his chair. I'm just like, what? He just like walks up here, just completely humiliates this man, and it was quite fun.
Yeah, it's probably a nice reminder that like comedy art in general can like transcend time and but I think comedy is one of those that sort of evolves but at the same time like a root of a joke has been the same joke for decades, right, and
Yeah.
centuries. There's almost in a sense where I could feel like these jokes being made today.
Mm.
Like the first one that kind of set the tone. for me was just the opening like text, and it says in this little town here there hasn't been a murder in 20 minutes, and like it just tickled me right. So like that's absolutely something I could see Adam McKay writing today,
Mm.
or in a Lonely Island production. It would absolutely be a joke in Parks and Rec. Um, so just
It
it
probably was a joke in what, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
probably,
Probably
but there's
was.
but you take a genre like action, and action can is something that evolves, and you can take a look at like tension in an action scene and be like, yeah, cool, like they just don't make them like this anymore, or like it's really hard to replicate that. But try to compare an old John Wayne movie to John Wick, and it's just no question, like you can't like compare the two. Even like family dramas, like things like that people um bicker about or argue about. Like it's there is an element of universal truth, but at the same time, there's um, they sometimes they just don't make them like they used to, and a lot of
Yeah.
times like there's no way like something as good as Little Miss Sunshine could have 100 years ago. Like probably just nothing like that happened exists. So it's just really nice. I think comedy is one of those comedies and musicals are those two that sort of transcend time. Except at least musical still kind of has like eras and pockets, and you can like see
Mm.
evolution more clearly. Versus
The
comedy,
type of
like
music.
there's just like universal rules of comedy. Things that have been funny, farts will never not be funny. Like, um, and Carson is I think it's Carson's rule of comedy, or maybe it's Letterman's, where it's like something you do something and repetition and it gets old and then it gets funny again. Like that is a
Mhm.
template for a joke that will make me laugh 95% of the time.
Well,
So,
Harold Lloyd was in that same era as Chaplin and Keaton. They were like the kings of physical comedy. And you see those types of sequences in One Battle After Another. You see them in John Wick. Like these are films that are purposefully using ripples of like this kind of slapstick physical comedy. And there's a couple of moments in One Battle After Another where it's just like Leo's literally just doing like a Harold Lloyd bit and stuff like that, in which is wild in a movie like that. But Paul Thomas Anderson loves his movies. And you have Billy coming in and humiliating this guy, and then it turns into him running all over the saloon, across the roof, them shooting at each other, and you're having all this like back and forth uh physical comedy shootout going on. And it's fun. Like Hal Roach does a great job of capturing all the action and leaning into that. And yes, the dialogue cards, the text cards are a lot of fun as it keeps slipping in the different things that they do and trying to shake things up and deliver some funny gags. And like you have title cards like Crooked Charlie the Gambler. He rules the town with an iron hand and a gin breath.
yep.
Or far out on the silent prairie, the mining town of Peaceful Vale. Nobody's been killed for almost 20 minutes, like you mentioned. And Gunshy Gallagher, sheriff of Rattlefire County, elected on the moonshine ticket. And like just silly stuff like this. And it has its fun with that type of stuff, and like winking at the camera being like, we get it, this sounds like it's silly, but Western towns. And by the end, 3 years jump, and he has kids and a random indigenous person hanging out with them out of nowhere. It's just like, yep, all happy family.
Couldn't agree more. It's just it just tickled me in the right way.
But yeah, this is a fun little flick. And whether things were intentional or supposed to be lampooning in unfortunate representations of people, we'll never know. But if you at least look at the physical comedy and stuff like that, it's a lot of fun. It has a lot of personality. And Harold Lloyd, with his straight up regular black circle rim glasses that he wore, and in general, coming in this old Western scene, it was just like I don't think those glasses are from this time. But Harold Lloyd is leaning in and doing a lot of some fun, charismatic character work. He's a cool gunslinger, and I don't think Harold Lloyd was ever cool ever. Um, let's look at him. But we had some fun here. But Aaron, thank you for coming on and chatting about Billy Blazes Esquire.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of surprisingly had more to say than I thought over a 12-minute short, but
There you
yeah,
go.
it's a fun time and it's free on YouTube. And if you're listening, you should, why not? Check it out.
Like, yes, and there are a lot of Kaplan and Betty Arbuckle and Laurel and Hardy and Buster Keaton shorts on YouTube that you could watch for free. So peruse, enjoy some old physical slapstick comedy. But thank all of you for listening. Who's your favorite old-timey comedic actor? Is it Chaplin? Is it Keaton? Is it Lloyd? Or is it somebody else? Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. And we have all types of great shows with all different types of interests, especially movies. If you love movies, we got plenty of those shows. And if you want to join the crew by being a guest on a show just like this one or one of our other shows, or you have an idea for a podcast and you want a place to start, make sure to reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.